Special in-studio guest, and I love the idea now that Barry Blank from National Estate Jewelry Buyers is here in person each week for our weekly What's It Worth segment. And good morning. It's so great to have you here, Barry. Thank you.
Good morning. It's great for me to be here, too. I love being in the studio. It's so wonderful.
It's awesome to have you come by, and I'm looking forward to just continuing our series here and be talking about some things in diamonds and gold and jewelry and collectibles. And today is a very interesting topic that we're going to cover. Let's talk about engagement rings and engagement ring laws. You know, sometimes the ring is given, everything's great, and then something happens and things aren't so great anymore. And everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an idea as to what happens next. But we're here today to talk about specifics, right?
Totally. I mean, you know, it's a touchy topic because what is an engagement ring? In the specific, you know, it's a gift. But unlike other gifts that once they're given, they're irrevocable. You give a birthday present, it's theirs. You want to take it back.
It's kind of uncomfortable to ask for it back.
It's uncomfortable to ask for it back. And an engagement ring is considered a conditional gift. The condition of giving an engagement ring has to do with the agreement to marry. So when you're giving this gift, and you can do this with other gifts too, but you make the condition that the person receiving the engagement ring is agreeing to marry. And it only becomes a permanent or irrevocable gift at the time of marriage. This is true for, I think, about 49 of the 50 states.
Wow.
And I think it's Missouri. Might be some others that say, no, once it's given, it's given. It's a gift. The only other time that it changes is when, in some states, not all states, most, if it's given on a holiday like Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever the holiday is, it can then be considered a holiday gift unconditional. So you got to be careful. I know that I was engaged to somebody in New York, and it was a number of years, and it was on again, off again. So I decided that I was going to ask for the ring back, and she said, no, it was hers. And I said, well, actually, I emailed her laws from New Jersey and New York, because we were in both states.
Sure.
And both states, it goes back to the giver of the ring. Some states have one more thing where they assign fault. So if the marriage didn't occur to a fault of one part or the other, it goes to the party who was not at fault. And again, I don't remember exactly what states, but it's not New York, New Jersey, and I don't think it's California, the pretty progressive state.
Well, what if someone said, well, I gave you the engagement ring not to necessarily marry you someday, but just the fact that we could be, you know, we're not going to date other people or see other people, and it's just, a sign that I'm dedicated and devoted to you, with no discussion of marriage. It still plays in the decision there, Barry?
I would say everything plays into the decision. Now, the bottom line really, though, is the two people involved have to take everything to heart. If they feel that it was a gift, it's their decision to leave it with the receiver. And again, I'm saying receiver-giver because it could be between two men, two women, any kind of couple. You know, an engagement is an engagement to be married. So if they decide to keep it, either party, so be it.
I like playing devil's advocate. You know me. So let's say, for example, an engagement ring is given, the relationship fails, and in the process of recouping the ring, I got rid of that. I sold it. I gave it away. I got some money for it. Sorry, it's all gone. Is there any legal action then that the giver of the ring could take? Is that person then on the hook for that?
It actually wasn't legally theirs to sell if it's in one of these conditional states, which are most of them. So really, you know, I don't know if I told you this, but you know how I met my wife?
I'd love to hear the story.
A mutual friend who I knew for many, many years also knew my wife. She just had a premonition we would get together, and my wife had a ring on her finger that she was looking to sell. She brought her into me, and we made a deal. I will admit that my friend pushed her. She says, you got to do this, but the ulterior motive is she wanted me to meet my wife.
Wow.
So she said, you got to ask Nancy out. She's available. So I did. And my wife reminds me all the time. She says, you know, you never let me alone after that meeting me. I said, you always wanted to go out with me. And so be it.
Interesting. And for what you do, Barry, a lot of times emotions play a role in this. Things that people feel personally attached to. Estate pieces, I'm sure you've seen them all. But a topic like this, when it deals with relationships and that unfortunately end early,
Sure. Well,
there's so much emotional baggage that goes into stuff like this.
Nancy actually was crying when she sold her ring to me.
Oh,
So
wow. All right.
it's true. She wore it for 22 years. So, and life goes on, and life is good. And I'm very good friends with her ex-husband, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's good then. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about this. A special shout out for a guy who had some nice things to say about the show. You want to say hello to somebody?
Yeah. A guy named Mark.
Okay.
He called me with some a Jewish religious item called tefillin, which is a ceremonial object that men and sometimes women place upon their heads and their arms for saying certain prayers in the morning and the evening. And he says, look, I'm not very religious. I got it when I was bar mitzvah. Does it have any value? And I said, not really, because but I want to tell you. He says, I love listening to your show every Tuesday morning. He says, so I'm saying hey to Mark.
Nice.
And I thank you, because it made me feel really, really good to hear that. And I'm sure, and he says, Bert, and
It's wonderful.
So.
Good stuff. The item that he wanted, is it made of a precious metal? Is there any value in that?
Actually, there's no precious metals. It's actually handwritten scrolls that are placed in little boxes.
Okay.
And they put them on their head and there's a little prayer that says, and it's in the Old Testament, says they should put them a sign upon the forehead and a sign upon the hand, and that's what that comes from. And it's they're just pretty much short prayers.
A lot of there's sentimental value
Right.
sort of
Sentimental
thing, right?
and religious, spiritual value.
Sure. Barry Blank is here. It's What's It Worth on this Tuesday morning, live in studio with Barry today. Great to have him here. The topic we were talking about was engagement ring laws. And I guess with anything with stuff like this, Barry, it's always good to talk to a lawyer and get some legal insight on something like this, right?
If it comes to that point. Nothing against lawyers, but if you can work it out yourselves, work it out yourselves.
That is helpful, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you could spend $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour
Yeah.
to get. Sometimes things get muddled up even worse and worse when
Yeah.
you bring in lawyers. They have a very good reason. They've saved a lot of things for me and
Sure.
gotten me through things, but.
Yeah. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue the process a little bit. Now you're a heartbroken person who got their engagement ring back, and maybe now you're looking to recoup and sell it. They could come see you, and should they bring documents? What sort of information? Should they bring anything specific to the store?
We talk about this very often. You have no idea how many times people show up with the diamond, and either the appraisal or the GIA certificate is in their bag or at home, because they think we're going to pay them more because we're going to, it's like bringing a Rembrandt without its provenance, without its,
Right.
A GIA certificate, which means, just so people know, the Gemological Institute of America is one of the most highly respected tools of evaluation. Other labs are good, but the GIA is the most respected. They're the most exacting. If GIA says it's a D color or an E color diamond, then it is a D or an E color diamond. If it's the clarity is VS or VVS, that's what it is. And especially with synthetic diamonds, which is more and more difficult to ascertain, you need to have the GIA cert. Generally speaking, it'll add at least 10% to the value of the stone.
Now your guys are good. Your crew is excellent because I've seen them in action. But still, even they want that documentation if possible, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the proof. It's everything that says this is this diamond, and then we also measure the diamond and weigh it if it's not in the mounting. And I'll also tell you when you're selling it, never leave the diamond ring out of your sight. If somebody says to you, "Look, I'll take it in the back room," I say, I'm sorry. It's just not up for that. There are very few bad jewelers who do switch, but they are the few bad apples in the bunch. But I still tell people, don't ever let it out of your sight.
Yeah, and just like all your other work, everything is done right in front of the customer.
Right in front of us in private rooms. We are very careful to evaluate it. We're careful to say to you, this is what it's worth to us. We make an offer because, I've heard this. I've seen it. People say to me, And when they walk in, they'll say, "Well, I want." I said, I don't really know what you want, because I have. If somebody says to me, "I want 1,000," and it's worth 3,000 or 4,000, what am I going to do?
Sure.
And I say to them, I said, you're not being fair to yourself, but it's a tough place to be put in when I hear people say, "Well, I sold so much to this guy who asked me," and I said, "Yeah, and I got a lot." I deal with 3 or 4 people who go to tag sales and they buy everything they can, all the costume jewelry, because they know they're going to find gold in there. So people don't know, and we don't want to base it upon what people don't know. We want to base it upon real knowledge, and we have 3 gemologists in my store, and very, very, very nice people. Who emulate the way I work.
You can go see them today with the evaluations that are happening today.
All day today, all day Tuesday. And if you really need something done another day, I went to somebody's house because they were in a quandary of how to split up jewelry, and they didn't have a lot of means.
Sure.
Funny thing, though, they had an 18-karat gold necklace. Mm-hmm. The clasp was gold, not gold.
Oh. And you see that often?
It happens occasionally.
Okay.
And they say, well, they probably... The mother probably changed it herself or something. But this was the prize piece, and I'm first by saying, "Gee, it doesn't look like it's gold." And they turned green and white. And then I tested the chain, and the chain was gold. So
how does that impact the value if the clasp is not gold?
The clasp was tiny, which was surprising anyway. It was a heavy chain, but the went from being worth $5-10 as gold filled to being worth, I think, about $1,500 to $1,800.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
We got to be really careful.
I think so, yeah.
Really, really careful. And in diamonds, we're always gentle with our offers. We don't attack people with it's only worth this, and we don't care. We want them to come back. We have a 90% return rate on our clients.
I can see why. Yeah. National Estate Jewelers, conveniently located 212 Route 18 in East Brunswick, right next to FedEx office. You could stop in or call 732-257-GOLD. Was there a car crash? It was right in front of your store yesterday, right?
I wasn't there. I was
Thank
off.
goodness, yeah. But Barry, thanks for being here. I like this new setup that we have here, where you come by and we do it this way. So you're traveling next week?
I'm traveling next week.
All right.
So I can call in from Montreal if you'd like.
Okay. Save way, magnifique. You could call in from Montreal next week. So we'll be live on the lawn, but we'll give you a couple minutes to call in.
Voila,
how's that?
as they say.
Good stuff. Barry, thanks for being here.
My
and
pleasure.
Another edition of What's It Worth. Good seeing you.
You too.